What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, Death Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Hill Heat. Who better? Nobody. This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero, and if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Alright, this is Dan here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Hey guys, it's Dan Rosa and welcome to True Heel Heat.
Rob and Dan, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow!
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for AEW Revolution 2024 review. And yes, we are coming in live here from Greensboro, North Carolina. You could tell by my voice, I was live at the event, and I am joined next to me in person. I can touch him by the Stat King. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We had a good show yesterday. My voice is a little bit more intact than yours, but it was a good time.
Indeed. And surprise, surprise, surprise for many of you watching. He is joining us for the first time on a pay-per-view review since I believe Double or Nothing 2022, the night that CM Punk won his first AEW World Championship, and he is back all these years later. My co-host from AE Ramble, the man of 54,000 subscribers, Jimmy Macram.
Hello, ladies and gents. I thought SP3 needed my help. He's got Stat King. He's got somebody else coming in. I'm sick as a dog. There's no need for me to really be here. But I was led astray. I was lied to, essentially. But I'm here now. So.
How was I? How did I lie to you? I do need you.
Oh, my God. Jesus fucking Christ.
Do you hear my voice? I saw you making faces when you heard my intro. When you heard my hello. You made a very audible face. Like
I thought. Remember that press conference, the Brawl Out press conference, where CM Punk's voice was all fucked up, the mic's fucked up? So I thought was happening to you. I don't know. What's going on with his mic? Oh well.
All we needed are some muffins.
Right.
I did karaoke the night before. That was not a good idea. Before I'm going to see Sting's final, match.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
I did. I had a great time, and I'm glad you're here. I needed you here because this was. I said I've been talking about it for weeks. One of the better built shows. I said the first time in 2 years they had a very good build to a pay-per-view show, and it was actually.
It was doing well there for a second. You're doing really well.
It was good. I know Barry is the part he's the stickler on.
Like it's their best built show in a while. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds right. It was very well built. All right, already we went too far. Those two things. I think Jimmy's the tallest one here. Oh yeah. Jimmy's very tall. No, that's not true. It's not true.
Points were made. Points are valid. I'm not going to try to argue with any of them. But yes, we are live, folks. We appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, most importantly, sound off in the live chat if you're with us live. We love to interact with all of you. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. You can send super chat donations if you want to talk about Sting, because we're going to start off talking about the main event for last night's show, and then we'll work from the top and make our way back down. But sound off on that. Sound off on everything on the show. Your thoughts, your hot takes. You can do that with a super chat donation, and we'll highlight all of those. We got Eric Isaacs in the chat who says, hello, THH fam, and thanks for the memories. Mr. Steve Borden, hashtag it's Sting. We got also Emmanuel who says, between Sting and Jason Kelsey, I'm out of tears.
He retired? I saw him trending earlier. I didn't click on it.
It's a center for the Eagles. I think he's announcing his retirement.
He did.
Travis's older brother.
Their podcast is great if you haven't listened to it.
Yeah.
Leave the memories alone. Yes, see, we're both doing Jordan's flu game here, Jimmy.
Jordan Pippen, as the great Don Callis brought up at the show.
We are the Ospreay and Takeshita of wrestling YouTube.
I'm Ospreay. The winner of the group.
I knew he wasn't gonna let me get away with that one. Monica says, "How did you get sick, Jimmy?"
I don't fucking know. I think my sister was sick. I'll be all right.
So is the family. I went out with my family and I got COVID.
I know. I mean, to be fair, you always come back with something. Went out with family, you got COVID. Went out with your girl, came back with kids. What a terrible idea. Jesus. After that, no more big mistakes than that.
So Stat King and Stat King and our special guest will get to see what I have to deal with every Thursday. Him insulting.
Special guest. There's another person here. I really don't need to be here at all.
He is a big Sting fan joining us.
Jimmy could be anywhere in the world, but he's here with us. We appreciate that.
We appreciate right now. He is the godfather over on the NWA podcast of post-wrestling fame. His brother Nate Milton. How are you doing, brother Nate? You muted, brother Nate. Or the masses.
I'm not muted. It's just a damn mask, man. I can't talk through the mask. Mask is a lot less pliable than paint on these streets, SP3. But it's good to be with you, brothers, today, man. I had to show up and show out for the good Reverend Steve Borden on these streets. Paid Tony Khan the first money I done paid Tony Khan in 2024, Sid. First time TK got some of my bank account was last night for that Revolution. And you know what? It was money well spent, brothers.
He was happy. He was happy. He got to see the final match for Sting. Brother Nate, that is Jimmy Macram. If you haven't met him before,
I'm well aware of the brother. We ain't never been on the same show at the same time, but I'm well aware of this good brother. I'm familiar with his game.
You're familiar with this game? Oh, okay. He is the number one AEW critic out in these streets. Don't get it twisted. With Cornette and Bischoff's bad faith grifting, that's not being a critic. Jimmy is an actual critic.
Jesus, both a compliment and a backhanded.
No, I'm insulting them, and I'm saying you do it the right way.
I don't know about all that.
You actually watch to criticize it.
Fair enough.
That's my one criteria. I'm sorry. You have to actually watch it. We got a super chat donation here already from Chuck J. Chuck J. Is this Chuck Berry's alias? I think it is. Chuck J, thanks for joining us, saying SP3 sup dough, only here for Jimmy. Look at that.
See, Jimmy and I can't leave.
See?
No pressure.
Just for you, Jimmy, to make you happy.
I'm serious. I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
I laugh every time I see it. It's funny every time.
Get you every time. All right, so Nate is here. We can start off hot. Let's talk about the main event of last night's show. Sting's final match. There was some controversy going into the show because of the 0 hour where Renee Paquette said that the main event would be the AEW World Championship matchup. But I was quickly told when I was let in by somebody within AEW, I was like, no, that's not the main event. That's not she said that, but yeah, that's not the main event. I don't know what was confused, but yeah. So I was immediately kind of ease my mind at that. But the main event festivity started off with the legends coming down to ringside. You had Scotty Riggs, Lex Luger in a wheelchair. Big applause and ovation for Lex Luger when he was arriving to his front row seat. You had Magnum TA, I believe one of the was it Dave Bradshaw or someone like that? One of the old announcers from Jim Crockett Promotions was there. Then you had Ric Flair coming out to the ring with the full entrance. You also had the Dragon, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat coming out to the ring as well. The Young Bucks got the Cody Vader entrance with the robes, which was awesome. I love that little touch to their entrance. And then you get Darby Allin coming out. You get Sting with a full video intro. He's looking at clips of his career. You get the clips from New Japan Pro Wrestling when he was Surfer Sting, him teaming up with Great Muta back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as last year for Muta's retirement in Pro Wrestling Noah. You get he's all watching it in a theater, big smile on his face. It was very touching, very emotional. With Greensboro, and you also get his other son who is wearing the Wolfpack attire. So you have Sting Jr. and Helio Del Sting, which is the great tweet by MLJ, the ring announcer for GCW, which popped me when I read it. Then you get Sting and all the Stings, all his sons come out and beat up the Young Bucks for a bit here in the open. They all put down the Young Bucks with like stinger splashes. Then Sting applies a double Scorpion Deathlock to both Matthew and Nicholas. You get then you get the whole big woo in the middle of the ring with the family of Stings, which was a nice little moment. And then we get all the plunder being thrown out. You get tables being set up. You get Sting pulling out glass, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. They start setting up the glass in different parts of the ringside area as well as inside the ring. We get some big spots like Sting tries to hit one of the Young Bucks with the bat, and he has to hit the glass twice, which told us it wasn't sugar glass. It was what did you say what the glass was? Temper glass instead. But then they set up the glass on like a row of steel chairs, and instantly when they did that, I was like, okay, that's for Darby. They pull out the ladder. They put the ladder in the ring. They set up the ladder. One of the Young Bucks is there fighting by the glass. Darby with Nicholas Jackson. He climbs up the ladder. Matthew Jackson pushes Nicholas out the way, and Darby does a senton off the ladder through the glass. The glass shatters everywhere. Darby's back was absolutely destroyed, just leaking. There was pools of blood underneath Darby Allin. There was tweets of people talking about Darby should have been told that this is Sting's retirement, not his. that I don't think that was really specified to him. So Sting was left alone. You get him fighting with one of the Young Bucks in the ring, and the other Young Buck comes in, Nicholas, I believe it was, and they fight Sting as he's going up the ladder, and they powerbomb him through the table. They start celebrating, and Sting completely no-sells it, which got a big response from the crowd. They're beating up on Sting for a while in the ring. You get Ric Flair coming in, and they give the double super kick to Flair, taking him out. Ric Flair is completely gone after that. He's not even out here for the post-match festivities. You get the Young Bucks telling Sting, not "I'm sorry, I love you." You get Matt who says, "Hey Sting, we're not sorry, we hate you." Double super kick, and Sting friggin' does the lean back, and then he just no-sells it and starts. That got the roof came off of the building. You get Darby finally comes back as they're kind of like pelting Sting with finishers. They give him the EVP trigger. He kicks out at 1. He fires up again. They give him the double super kick. He kicks out again. They're going for the Tony Khan driver, but Darby finally gets up from the glass spot. He pushes Nicholas through tables at ringside. The Sting gives the Scorpion Deathlock for the second time to Matthew. He kicks out. Darby finally climbs up to the top rope, delivers a coffin drop to Matthew. Sting applies the Scorpion Deathlock. They get to win by tap out. Sting and Darby Allin retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships in the main event of AEW Revolution. A happy ending to this big show. The sellout crowd, over 16,000 in attendance in Greensboro, North Carolina. They wanted to see the superhero reign again one more time, and they got that. Very emotional speech, and especially in WCW fashion, did not time that at all, and they cut off in the middle of Sting's speech. But we got the rest of it when he talked about being a risk taker even at his stage, and Darby helped him out. He thanked Darby. He thanked Tony Khan. Tony Khan came out to the ring. He gave him a hug. We got Tony Khan's public speaking voice. "Sting, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. We love you." And he gives him the hug, and he walks out. Sting gets an emotional curtain call with his family, giving his sons a hug. This is how you celebrate an absolute legend. This is up there with the Ric Flair kind of Hall of Fame retirement that they gave him after WrestleMania 24 as far as send-offs for a wrestler. Just a beautiful send-off, in my opinion, and a great matchup. I give the match itself 4.25 stars. I thought it delivered at a high level, just gave you everything you wanted from Sting in his final matchup. Nate, what did you think about last night?
This was special, man. This was special. I think you rightfully so kind of called back to Flair's retirement match, but I'd say this is even better, given the fact that Sting, unlike Flair, is not going to ruin his own retirement match. That ain't what Sting is about on these streets. So when you look at this, like I said, Sid, this is the first AEW show I've bought this year, mainly due to work and just not having the time to stay up and watch these damn shows. But I made it a point last night. Like, if my OG going out, I'm going out with him. Like, this is the dude that when I was a little Stinger Sid, used to sit on my pop's lap and watch this dude wrestle. And now this man is he's older now than my pops was back then. And I'm still watching this dude wrestle. And so I had to do it, man, for a guy that I've admired my whole life. And so just the way that they set this up, this was on a show that was already stacked, which we'll talk about. Like, this was the main event in every description of the word. The opening video that they played with Sting in the theater, I thought that was beautiful. Like, whoever put that together, it was well done, especially considering, kind of the limits to the footage they could use in that. It was just a great encapsulation of Sting all the way up into his current run with AEW. Then we get to the match, coming out with his sons and, coming out to Seek and Destroy. I'm not even a Metallica fan. But when they switched to that set, I'm like, okay, that's my shit right there. I don't even like Seek and Destroy. I don't even like Metallica for that matter. But it just set the mood. And so then you get to the match. And we know by now what a Sting and Darby match is. It's going to be a lot of plunder. Sting going to do some stuff that you like, damn, granddaddy, you really putting your body on the line like that at this point of the game? And then Darby's going to make you do something that just makes you want to turn the TV off and go walk or go to church or go listen to Andre 3000 play the flute or something to cleanse your soul. This man, Darby Allin, don't give a damn about his body, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've established that by now. I love the near falls, man. Like, because I remember going into the match, a lot of question was, Sting's an old school dude, Jimmy. Sting's an old school dude, Sid. Like, he is somebody that would want to put somebody over on the way out. The whole time, though, I'm like, no, there's only one ending to this story, and that is Sting and Darby riding off into the sunset. And so just the near falls, the Sting up spots, the inclusion of Steamboat and Flair. I wish they could have, had the camera on Luger at some point during the show. That's one thing I do think they missed. But it was just a fantastic way to send this dude out. What I've always said about AEW in contrast to WWE when Sting was there, I think WWE respected Sting, but there's a difference between respect and love. AEW, you could tell through and through with that presentation last night and the presentation of Sting the entire 3 years he's been there. They love this dude. And it came through last night. It was a wonderful match. It just made me happy, man, to see this dude go out on his own terms, a guy that we never thought would wrestle again after that Seth Rollins match, and to see a younger generation, Sid, have an appreciation for this cat that I was watching back in the 90s, man. It was amazing. Like, you can't even put a star rating on this dog. Like, technical, like, I don't give a damn about your 5 stars, your 12 stars in the Tokyo Dome. This was a hell of a match, man. Made my night. Was worth staying up until 12 o'clock for. Yeah. And only thing that would have been better is if they would have if Bleacher Report, come on, Bleacher Report, what the hell we doing? Y'all gonna cut this man off? Last speech he giving in the ring?
Yeah, that's
nasty work. Nasty work.
Jimmy, what did you think about Sting's final match?
All that was great. I would echo all that, except like he was at a 10, I did like 8.5. All that, everything he just said, except less excited. Actually, I that was really good. That was way more you could have asked for. As a Sting fan growing up, his WWE run left quite a bit to be desired, which is kind of sad. So to have this run, even if it did come with its own handicaps, I thought it was really well done. How do I say this nicely? Darby's an idiot. Now, it is his choice to be a complete idiot. That's your call. If they let you do it, feel free. But I don't know. What if he just bled out right there? Just overshadow Sting's match by dying.
CM Punk was sitting somewhere like, come on, dog. Really?
See?
He was like, I was with you after that promo, but
but this is why. This is why Real Glass is a bad idea. The whole death thing. But yeah, this was really well done. I'm shocked Sting went over. He seemed like a fucking go out on your show kind of guy. But hey, not like the Bucks need to win. This isn't fucking 2 young guys. Fuck it. This was great. I love every bit of this.
I was like, I'm surprised that Jimmy didn't mention that it was Matt that tapped out.
Listen,
bad back.
Nick lost the last time. I didn't forget. So it's your turn. Please.
It's your turn, big brother. Stan King, what did you think about Sting's final match?
I loved everything about this match except for the Darby spot because it was absolutely stupid and unnecessary. To a certain extent, Sting taking the glass in the corner. However, because it is his retirement, I can see him wanting to, do that final commit because he's not jumping off of a banister somewhere. He's like, I got to do something, which I mean, you know, it's your retirement. This is your career. You can end it how you want to end it. That's perfectly fine with me. But the Darby spot, you know, because the purpose behind doing it is to get Darby out of the match so that they can concentrate on the Bucks beating the shit out of Sting. He can do the Stinger come back multiple times, the no sell to Sid's point. I just think that there were ways to do that to Jimmy's point, didn't involve someone possibly dying ringside. That's just, I don't know, maybe just me. But, you know, you could have put him through announce tables, barricades, whatever the case may be. But, you know, if you're trying to go short and sweet, I guess falling through glass, yeah, you know, it works. But this probably was the match that was budgeted with the highest amount of time in the show. So you could have done what you needed to do. That being said, the tribute video in the beginning was absolutely amazing. Nate, you're absolutely correct there. And overall, it is a wonderful love letter. You know, when you said that WWE respected him, I thought you were going to say that AEW celebrated him. But I think the word that you picked, love, is much more apropos. They really do love Sting and everything that he represents to the industry and the history of the industry. And I think that we really got a chance to see that tonight. So for that, I mean, I loved everything about it except for the fucking
like it's crazy because
I was CM Punk up and watching this. I was just like, God damn it.
Yes. Our friends that sat with Stat King said this is the maddest they've ever seen him by wrestling. That's a lawsuit.
Well, no, that was about the second one. Because like from our vantage point, when Sting does the corner spot with the glass, you can see glass shooting into that front row around that corner. And the lawyer in me is immediately going, well, I mean, you're just I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you don't want to open yourself to liability if you can avoid it. So I'm just like, that you could have put it somewhere else and done it somewhere else.
No, I really feel like it's crazy that you know, someone like Nate who says he's a longtime Sting fan, same thing with Jimmy, same thing with me, same thing with John. But there are fans that are younger than us, that are kids right now, that if they're AEW fans, they got a whole run of Sting in AEW, and they got the little kind of highlights, they got the little kind of notes to everything that we grew up on, whether it was the bats hanging from the ceiling during his during the Dynamite segment, whether it was him coming down from the Raptors the last time, whether it was all the great matches, and it was a different type of Sting. Like me and Jimmy have been talking about on AE Ramble for like months since he announced his retirement, is that he became a whole different dude. Like he was always Batman, where he could go 1-on-20 and fight everybody. And then he became old man Batman, who's now Daredevil, who just jumps from places. That's not how this is supposed to go. Like he turned the clock back, and he really gave like a more reverence, and on a higher level, on a more mainstream level. I think the best comparison, and this is one that I haven't compared it to yet, and I think me and Jimmy did a great job of comparing all the latest like great late runs of wrestlers, but I think the one that is most akin to this one with Sting now, and it just hit me, is Terry Funk in ECW.
Yes.
Terry Funk in ECW was completely different from Terry Funk before ECW. He totally kind of evolved himself, but he helped everybody there, and he helped the company. Terry Funk being in ECW helped them, and the way ECW treated Terry Funk helped ECW, and the way AEW has helped Sting restore his legacy has helped AEW, you know, in the perception department, and it's helped Sting, you know, end off his legendary career in the right way.
I'm glad you said that, Sid, because I was thinking today, driving to work, you know, had to be to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm still like, I slept maybe 3 hours last night, Sid, driving to work, man. And I'm still thinking about this damn Sting match. I got trucks to unload. I've got, you know, inventory to take care of. I've got, you know, shipping things to send out. I'm thinking about this damn Sting match and this idiot Darby Allin on these streets. And I was like, for the longest time, I'd always said, when AEW started, Chris Jericho was like their Terry Funk, that corollary to ECW. Like, we got an established guy. He's going to hold the title at one point, but he's here to make everybody better. Lo and behold, I think you're right, Sid. Sting actually was their Terry Funk in that he had that not only in-ring respect, but this is a dude in this day and age. You ain't never heard this man call somebody out their name. Ain't never messed with none of the women backstage. Ain't tried to hold nobody down. Ain't never owed nobody money. All of the legends we talk about, there's some dirt on their resume. There's some stain on their record. Not with this man. Like, everybody had something good to say about this dude. And so not only is he that Terry Funk figure, like you said, Sid, but I also feel like there is, and I think Edge alluded to it, the last 20, 30 years of wrestling, you can see a corollary between Sting and each generation. And the wrestlers who are influenced by him, the wrestlers who take bits and pieces from him, the wrestlers who are inspired by him. And I think it was Sean Dean on Twitter last night that was like, we got it from here, OG. We going to take what you showed us and keep it moving for the next generation. So it's like, yeah, you can have your personal top 10s, the top 5s, the Mount Rushmores. But for me, Sting is always going to be that dude. Like, Sting was him before we knew what him meant. Like, Sting has always been that guy in and out of the ring. And so it was really cool to see him get that love on the way out that he didn't get in the WWE. With all their money and all their resources, they brought him in. Like I said, I think Vince and them respected Sting, but they didn't love him. And they're like, we're going to use you to get our laughs out at WCW. We're going to use you to, settle this score for once and for all that nobody gives a damn about now. But AEW is like, nah, dog, we want to celebrate you, like Stat said. We want to celebrate you and make this about you. And so, yeah, I loved everything of this Sting run. The only thing that's sad is it's over. But it's like, damn, what a time to be alive, Sid, that we got to see this, man. This was like borrowed time that we didn't know we were going to have with this dude.
I was telling Stat King and our boy Kelvin before we went live, the thing that gets me excited now is what are they going to do for Brian? What are they gonna do for Joe? Like that's like the next ones where I'm like, yeah, that's the next step, the next level. And the other thing I wanted to ask Jimmy is, I honestly feel like this matchup, they've been in great matchups, and I've mentioned this a bunch of times. But as far as like character work in a matchup, storytelling wise, I think this was the Young Bucks' best performance.
It's not about them, sir.
I know it's not about them.
We're not talking about Jackson.
Trying to give them some love here.
Give them credit whenever they fucking do anything. Enough of this.
Somehow we got to make this about the Bucks. Somehow we got to.
Enough of these people. Enough of these fucking people. Jesus fucking Christ.
Talk about
Sting.
The whole thing.
It's about Sting, sir. One of the best to ever do it, sir. Matt Jackson gonna be on that fucking list next to Sting. We really put Matt Jackson next to Sting right now? Are you serious?
I'm not putting Matt Jackson next to Sting. I am giving love to the Matt, sir.
Great character work you did.
They were perfect comic book villains for Sting to make.
Comic book villains.
Yes.
What shitty comic book is this? Put that shit back on the shelf.
Hey, I will say the attire upgrade was a plus. The attire upgrade, like the vest and the stuff, that was good. Okay. Very good, very good. And your boy Nick was on his shit in this match.
Of course he is.
Bumping around like crazy. Even for Sting's sons.
Yo. Sting's sons. Come on, man. Come on. I didn't know I needed that in my life, SP3.
when they made that entrance and the first attire, we thought, like, the crowd legitimately thought
that was Sting.
Yeah, the crowd thought he came out in his own
because then when his other son comes out in the Wolfpack attire, we're like, wait a minute, who is this? You could tell in the crowd, it was like this audible kind of like, wait a second, who is? Who thought that was? And so that was very well done. That extra add touch.
Yeah, because Server Sting's son was built like a wrestler. He built like an '80s wrestler. He got the pudge, he got the muscle. Got it. He had it. We got a bunch of people in the chat talking about this great matchup. We got Power Driver Finisher said, I heard someone say Sting is the Keanu Reeves of wrestling.
Sting's probably a better actor, to be fair.
I say the Batman. He is the Batman of professional wrestling. We got Big Man Dogs. He says that's a good call. I think that was about the Terry Funk to ECW Sting to AEW call. We got Steve who says, I don't think WWE respected Sting more that they value being a completist. Having Sting completes most of the major players of the past. Once they had Sting as a worker, they used his value in merch.
Sting is Sting. Vince is the fucking completist is a good word. It's a nice word for it. Yes, I want to let you know who the boss is. Yes, he does get a thrill out of it, and then having Triple H beat him at WrestleMania. Yes, that's what Vince wants to do. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I do think there is a level of respect, like from a we're in the same profession standpoint. But like I said, respect does not equal love. Like I respect Tom Brady. Would I care if Tom Brady took that Darby Allin bump? No, I would laugh my ass to the bank if I saw Tom Brady do that last night.
I would want him to take that bump.
But Patrick Mahomes, that boy Patty Mahomes, like I love that dude. Like I want
him to take that bump too.
All the good things in life. So like, I think WWE because you got to remember Vince wanted that dude for a minute. Like that was his white whale. He was trying to get Sting for the better part of 15 years, and then he finally got him. And then it's like the dog that catches the car, Sid. You got him. What the hell you gonna do with him now?
I was like, then what? And then what?
No, not then what? Then this is it. This is it. This is the mission. We wanted to catch him. We got him. What happens after that? Nothing to do with it.
It was like we just don't have Tony Schiavone to do the call. That's it. That's the only thing we're missing. That's it. All right. Any final notes? Any final thoughts on the AEW run of Sting? Jimmy, I will ask you the same question I asked you on Thursday. Where does Sting rank now? Now that it's finally over, it's finally wrapped up after watching how they ended his run in AEW. Where does he rank in our pantheon that we gave here? And we'll add Terry Funk and ACW to it of Goldberg's WWE 2016, 2020 run, Ric Flair 2020, 2001 to 2008, Hogan coming back to WWE, Terry Funk ECW, Sting AEW.
I'm not gonna be a prisoner of the moment. Like if you would ask me a couple hours ago, probably say number one. But I'm gonna say Flair won. Then Sting. I think his run is significantly better than everybody else's. Funk will probably be third for me.
Where would you stand, Nate?
It's tough, but I think like I said, Flair kind of, screwed up his own retirement, but also that was a situation where like you could tell that man didn't want to give it up. They like, hey, you got to go, old man. Get out the club. You're scaring the women in the club, dog. You got to go. Whereas with Sting, a little bit. I think with Sting, it's like he knew. Like the 3 years that I got in AEW, that was a blessing. That was a bonus. And to end it on this run, like I think just being able to kind of plan it out a little bit better, maybe. Plus the emotion, like like Jimmy said, man, we are in the moment still. So I'll give the slight nod to Sting, man. But it's also just because I respect that dude so much, man. Like you could take your Terrences from Florida, you could take your All Lives Matter Undertakers, you could take your Triple H's on these streets, man. They all in the back of the line behind this man called Sting, in my opinion, brother.
What about you, Sting?
I think I like Jimmy's list of Flair, Sting, Funk. As long as my thing is Goldberg's is last. That's where I would put.
Yeah. I tried to help. I tried to help Goldberg by trying to forget that he came back after his retirement speech after the second Brock match. Yeah. I was trying to benefit him, like negate that.
We can't do
it's
that.
Like, no, we can't do that. So, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm fucking. I am gonna be a prisoner of the moment. I don't give a damn.
Okay.
Sting number 1, Flair 2, Funk 3, Hogan 4, begrudgingly, because everything after Goldberg's retirement speech was bad.
To be fair, you can have Hogan and Goldberg tied for last.
That's what I'll do. That seems fair. That seems like the fairest thing to do. We got here in the chat. We got Trey Joe said Flair is still scaring me. Annika says Sting is number one right now. Didn't see Funk in ECW. You should go back and watch it.
Thank you. That's not how that works. Well, LeBron's the greatest of all time to me because I never seen Michael Jordan play. Well, that has nothing to do with me, sir. Sorry.
He's like, that's not how this works. That's not how
it's an all-time list. It's in the word.
Well, let's go to the pre-show very quickly. We'll skim through the 0 hour pre-show. They had the fun little opener with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Keep saying it now. Ospreay Jay White getting the win for his team over total nonstop assholes. Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, Satam Singh, as well as with Private Party and Willie Mack. Jay White hit like one move and he won the match, but he got to cut a promo afterward. He got to hype up the crowd about the show. He made fun of Max Caster making up his rap and saying it wasn't that hard. Then he said that they're the greatest faction and the greatest wrestling company. And White said that they are led by one of the greatest of all time, the Goddess of Pro Wrestling, and said March 13th, maybe he'll handle some big business of his own before hitting the signature go home lines of everyone loves the Acclaim and if they're not down with that, they got two words for you: guns up. And then it was announced in the post-show press conference, Switchblade Jay White will go one-on-one with Darby Allin. Darby Allin's first match since Sting's retirement in 2 weeks' time, March 13th, Boston, Massachusetts, AEW Big Business. I'm hoping and praying that this is a sign of things to come. Hey, Takeshita had a match with Darby Allin coming out of the last pay-per-view, and then he wound up having arguably the best match on this pay-per-view. So maybe Jay White can get back on the right side. But as far as the matchup, it was 2.5 stars. It was a fun little match. Any thoughts? Anybody? I don't know. Nate?
Yeah, it was what it was. Like, this is just kind of set the tone for the evening. I am interested in what they're doing with this gimmick with Max Caster, like continuing to flub his rhymes, like where they go with that and how they incorporate that. But other than that, man, it was just kind of there, man. It was people settling in, getting ready for this thing, and Switch and Darby. I think that's going to be cool. I think they probably had to wait to make sure Darby didn't need a tetanus shot or didn't need any further medical attention after the show, but that's going to be cool.
Absolutely.
They had to get him his third blood transfusion.
That's ridiculous.
Star King, what did you think?
I mean, I thought for what it needed to be, it was fine. Nothing crazy there.
Jimmy?
I didn't watch it. 0 hour.
Yeah.
5 hour show, hard pass.
We always appreciate Jimmy Macram's honesty. But what do you think about Jay White versus Darby Allin at Big Business?
It would be a good match. Do I think it'll lead to something more? Maybe Max Caster fuck something up. We can kickstart this thing that should have happened a month ago. Can we move on from this? Jay White is bigger than this by a big bit.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. I'm sorry. I know you all love the Acclaimed. I'm over it. Been over it for a year now. Stop.
If this had led to a unification match with the AEW and ROH trios titles here, and that's the end of the story, it would have been fine with him biding his time doing this. But the fact that they did this 0 hour matchup, and there's like the only sign of optimism is that he has a singles match now on Dynamite. I mean, that is a very low bar. The bar is lowering as we speak.
I had a question. I totally forgot it. What you started talking about. Those fucking belts they all have. They should unify them and throw them all in the garbage. And what happened to the Undisputed Kingdom? Is Jay forgotten he owes them something? What the fuck are we doing?
I think I honestly think he just forgot. He's like, oh, we won titles. He was like, oh, we got together to win gold. No, you got together because you were both got attacked by Undisputed Kingdom.
Details, man. Don't get lost in the details, Sid.
Yeah. Booker of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Where's Joshua at? Where's Josh at?
He's on his plane. He's on his plane.
He left already. See that? Absolutely. Running away. Come explain yourself, sir. Come explain your love of Tony Khan. I'm waiting.
Oh, you know. Can't win them all. Can't win them all, Tony. We get it. Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Let it play out, Sid.
Second 0-hour matchup. You had the women in action, tag team action, Julia Hart and Sky Blue going up against Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. This match had a little bit more energy from the crowd as more people were getting in their seats, and they definitely are in support of the Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander pairing. Julia Hart is always improving in the ring, and Sky Blue the same. And in the end, it was Willow Nightingale who picked up the victory with the Babe, with the power bomb to get the win for these two ladies. It seems like they're positioning Willow Nightingale to be the next in line for the TBS Championship. So that is a nice little feud to go to next. As far as this match, I gave it 2 3/4 stars. So just a nudge up from the opening matchup here. Jimmy, what did you think? Oh, you didn't watch it. But what do you think about Stokely, Willow, and Stat winning here?
Brilliant. That's second best thing they got going as far as I'm concerned. And I would push all these people above Deanna now that she's removed from the title picture. Sorry.
What if Deanna's the heel?
She's already a heel. This is not a babyface motion. I don't care what anybody says. It just isn't. You're not a good person, man. In kayfabe, I don't know about you in real life. Kayfabe, you're not a very nice person. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, this honestly, I was more into this match than the title match later, which is a shame because you know how much I love me some timeless Tony Storm, but like that match just was kind of there, and we'll talk about it. But like I'm into Willow and Stat and Stokely, like they just make it work, man. And so I love that you've always got this dynamic. You know, going back to Sting, like I'm going to find many ways to bring whatever topic we talk about tonight back to Sting. Stokely, Willow, and Stat kind of feel like, remember when Luger came back to WCW after that Nitro, and he was down with Sting, and Sting's like, this is my boy, but everybody's like, that's a bad dude. And it feels like Stat is like, yo, Stokes good, man. Stokes good people. And Willow's like, I don't know, fam. Your man kind of sus. But they still find a way to make it work. I love their interactions. You know, Julia and Sky, they keep getting better, I think, every time I see them in the ring. So I liked it. I liked their pairing. I think Willow and Julia are going to have a hell of a match. And yeah, this should have been on the main card, in my opinion. And we could have gotten rid of something else that was on the main card that I didn't really care for.
I think I know what match you were going to, and I will tell you how the people in the building responded to that graphic going on the big screen. Stat King, any thoughts on this one?
I'm a fan of all 4 women involved, and I'm hoping that, you know, to everyone's point, that they can push some of these women a lot more than they have in the past. I think Julia versus Willow is a really good matchup, considering the power dynamic there. It's definitely a stronger babyface. So Julia is going to have to be much more conniving to pull out a win, and that just adds more character depth to Julia, which always beneficial.
Agreed. This is Chris LeClaire. I like Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Who's this? Fucking this Swerve's burner account?
We can't do that, man. We can't do that.
The words and opinions of Jimmy Macram do not necessarily reflect those of True Heel Heat, its viewers, or affiliates.
Willow's right there.
He's like, if Willow's not your favorite, all right. Main card kicked off in a big way with the TNT Championship up for grabs. You had Daniel Garcia challenging Christian Cage. Daniel Garcia coming out in a Sting-themed jacket. The crowd was on their feet for Danny for sure. And oh my God, the heat for Christian Cage.
That
was heat. Yo, I was like, God damn. I felt like I was the only person clapping in my section. I was like, that's my father. Don't boo my father. He's only trying to get better.
Greensboro hates good fathers. That's what I learned.
They're awful people.
I hate
How
fatherhood.
could they? Oh, Father of the Year, Christian Cage. This match, man, Christian was just an excellent heel. Just kept grounding Garcia, making him fight from underneath. Garcia would go after the leg with some dragon screw leg whips. There was various interference from the patriarchy, whether it was distraction to give Christian the advantage or getting involved in different ways, whether it was kill switch and Nick Wayne. You had one time Killswitch was getting involved, taking off his armor and stuff like that, and Daddy Magic had to attack him from behind, throw him into the ring post. He fought him to the back after he got into a stare down with Mother Wayne, because they had, I know on commentary, they must have been screaming, Daddy versus Mother, Daddy versus Mother. Yeah. Danny gets some good near falls with a spike power driver. He got another one with the jackknife pin that he's been winning a bunch of matches with. He got the ankle lock, but Christian was able to get to the ropes. It was one last interference from Nick Wayne that gave Christian Cage the little advantage that he needed to hit the kill switch 1, 2, 3 to retain the TNT Championship. I thought this was a very good opener to the show. Christian Cage just knows how to orchestrate the crowd, just get them to react in different little ways, and he's just so masterful at it. I honestly thought this was a great match based on the reaction of the crowd. I'm going to say 3 3/4 is my initial rating for the matchup, but very good stuff to open the show here. Christian Cage is just excellent. And Danny Garcia, even though I thought it was time for him to win, he's not quite ready yet. And this felt like the right kind of him coming close, Christian needing help to beat him where they protect him in the right way. Jimmy, what did you think?
I thought it was a really good match. Christian is great. I really miss Collision because listening to Nigel reminded me of how good the commentary team is on Collision. Nigel was fucking great. I can't believe how much like a diabolical heel helps that 3-man booth. It just makes everything balanced. It just works. And some of his lines about when Christian was stalling for time, you need your family, moments of despair. I was like, oh my God, this man is amazing. It's really good. Garcia's not ready as far as I'm concerned. He is, I don't know, 25 pounds away. But eventually.
I like that. I like that.
Maybe ready.
That's good. Very accurate.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like who's like Daddy Magic? Why are we pretending like this is a thing? Why does Daddy Magic come out and the crowd goes mild? Because of course they do. And then fucking homegirl gets in his face. She towers over him, by the way. And then he beats Luchasaurus, who's taller than she is, by the way, and just beats him up the ramp. Really? You're trying to how to deal with this all this Daddy Magic energy? Stop it.
I did peep that Luchasaurus literally got like no hits on Daddy Magic.
None. And ran.
Right. He ran because that's how that would work. The guy runs away from fucking fat guy who was the quarterback in high school. Like, stop it.
Yeah, this was a good opener, Sid. I think, I agree with your rating of the match. I think, as we've all said, whether it's time or body mass that Brother Garcia needs to acquire and accumulate before he finally takes that next step, I'm in agreement because I think the crowd was behind him, but you can tell, Sid, there's a level that you need to be at to make that switch and have it be impactful and effective. And I don't think it was quite there for Daniel Garcia, but it's getting there. I enjoyed the match. And Christian's too hot as a heel right now. You don't want to mess this up, dog. Like he's the goods in terms of, that all that heat and that dynamic with the patriarchy in that match. Like, yeah, why would you mess that up right now?
It's so true. It is so true. Like when I heard that reaction for Christian, I was like, yeah, that's probably the match I got wrong in the predictions. I switched it. I switched it out loud. I was like, yeah, it's probably a good night. You get Garcia a good moment, open the show, but nah. Christian, he had to retain, and especially AEW is doing the Canadian tour, and it just makes sense to do the blow off of Christian and Copeland in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Stacking, what did you think,
bro? From the perspective of the ability to get heat, Christian has to be like top 3 in the company, if not top 1. Just him by himself. Just wanted a pure ability to be able to work a crowd and turn them from like this Daniel Garcia feud, if you want to call it that. The story is basically was hotshotted in a way because of what happens with Edge. Granted, complete storyline idea, but no one's really that intrigued by Daniel Garcia going up against Christian for this title, and then Christian just starts bringing up addresses in Buffalo, and that alone, like I hadn't seen an address ever be used so well to get heat, and it's just his ability to do it. And to Sid's point, it's the little things, and I'm hoping and praying that Nick Wayne is paying attention to everything that he is seeing Christian do, whether it's from promos, whether it's ringside, all of that kind of stuff. That, like, from an AEW daddy daycare perspective, that is one of the best persons that you could be watching. From an in-ring perspective, it was a good match. I mean, I can't complain too much about the in-ring stuff. The Daddy Magic run out, that was definitely a little dumb. Like, I can't really believe a world where Luchasaurus is having a tough time dealing with Matt Menard, but we'll have to do a little bit of suspension.
It should have been a Cam Newton situation with Luchasaurus and Daddy Magic. What are we doing?
Luchasaurus is just smiling while he's wailing out. that would have been great, but yeah.
Absolutely. Big Man Dog saying Luchasaurus awkwardly walked away while Daddy Magic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Trying to get somewhere. Could you please move? Jesus. Oh, man.
I'm sure about this Nick Wayne thing working out. I mean, as a father to fucking Jungle Boy, got CM Punk kicked out of the company. Think he's a better father than Nick Wayne?
Hey, sometimes you think they're graduating from daddy daycare. They needed more time. They needed to go back to school to get some extra credit. Yeah, it's all right. Sammy had to go back to daddy daycare.
At least this many times.
Yo, he went that even like 3 times. Oh, like jeez. Next up was one of the matches I was looking forward to the most on this card. Bryan Danielson challenging Eddie Kingston for the AEW Continental Crown Championship. And oh man, this was one of the matches where I specifically, for what Jimmy said about the opening matchup, which I didn't rewatch, I had to rewatch this match because I saw Nigel on commentary. I was like, I have to hear what Nigel was saying during this match because I absolutely loved the matchup watching it live, but I needed to hear what Nigel was saying during the matchup to really appreciate it, even on a higher level. But these two guys, man, they just told a excellent story, feeling out process very early on. But I love that Bryan right now in his great matches, he always has that point in the match where you always can pinpoint where the gear shift is. And in this matchup, it's when he's fighting on the apron with Eddie and he hits the ring post with his hand, which injures Eddie's predominant hand that he uses the chops for. And it started off early on. The story of that matchup was early on when they're doing the filling out process. Every time Eddie would go for the chop, Bryan would avoid it and duck it. So he ducks it this time. He hits the ring post. Then he does a big snap suplex off the apron. He's working over the hand for pretty much the majority of the matchup. After that, Eddie keeps trying to fight from underneath. He gets a stretch plum at one point. They fight to the top rope, and Bryan hits a big butterfly suplex off the top rope into a label lock. He transitions that into the snarky cat or clucky cat, as Zack Sabre Jr. calls it. We get both guys like fighting, just hard hitting chops and strikes. Bryan with the kicks, both to the body of Eddie Kingston as well as to the hand and to the arm. Different points, Eddie would be selling the hand so well. Like when he would hit Uragans or hit chops, he would be favoring the hand. They had great little double downs. The crowd heat was amazing. You had loud dueling chants from like the opening of the matchup, and then various points, whether it was strike exchanges or great sequences, the crowd would just break out into let's go Eddie chants or let's go Bryan chants or dual chants back and forth. You get Bryan gets the Uragan Ergen, and then he just backs up into the corner. He hits up a psycho knee. Then Eddie hits another Ergen, and he just backs up into the corner again, hits another psycho knee. He gets the yes chance. He hits a third psycho knee. He covers Eddie, and Eddie is able to kick out. Eddie fights from underneath. They get a great little strike exchange battle where Eddie has one arm, but he's doing these paintbrush right hand slaps and just totally paintbrushing Brian across the face to the point that Brian is dazed enough that he walks right into Eddie, hitting the folding bomb. 1, 2, 3 to pick up the win here. This was 20+ minute, physically intense war that was all about fighting spirit and respect, and the post-match showed that as Brian was dejected but yet humbled in the post-match. He kept looking like he was going to deny the handshake once again, but finally he shows respect to Eddie Kingston. He shakes his hand, and Eddie Kingston finally gets that kind of fulfillment from Bryan Danielson, getting his second win against him in one-on-one action here, retaining the AEW Continental Crown Championship. I gave this match 4 3/4 stars. I don't know what it would be to make it perfect, but man, that was a fantastic match. What did you think, Nate?
I thought it was a hell of a match, Sid. I think one of the strengths of this show was you probably had a lot of people who were like me. Like I'm tapped in with AEW, but like I said, Sid, this is the first show I've bought in probably 6 months. And I'm buying it for one reason, to see this dude Sting. And so it would be very easy if the matches aren't captivating for me to just be looking at my watch. You know, Millhouse on The Simpsons, when we get into the fireworks factory, dog. Like, ain't nobody got time for all this. There is one match, like I said, Sid, that I didn't have time for on the main card. Maybe one and a half.
And we're about to get there.
But like this match, I was just like, okay, like, you know, it's Kingston and Bryan Danielson. You know it's gonna be good. But like you said, I do feel like, as crazy as it is to say, I feel like there's another gear that these two have between them, and I don't know like if we're gonna get that. But I thought it was a good job of storytelling, man. And even the promo was going into this match, and then at the very end where you got Brian kind of going through the calculations in his head. Do I really want to show this man respect? I said I was going to show him respect, but really it ain't a legally binding contract that I got to shake this man's hand. And for him to actually do it and to see Kingston's reaction, like, I thought it was a good story and a good moment.
Stacking.
So I stopped watching Collision after September of 2023.
Same as Jimmy.
There you go.
There was really no need to watch anymore. But so I didn't know that. I did not legitimately know that this match was happening until about 2-3 days ago. But there was something nice about coming into this show, this match, not knowing really anything. Because the thing is, I know enough about Brian, I know enough about Eddie to kind of know. I don't need to have been told the story. I kind of know based off of who these two people are, what this story really is about. I don't need any of that other stuff. So this was a really fun match for me to watch. Eddie is, Eddie's promo ability is really good, and that's been talked about by many people multiple times. But his ability to tell a story in a match is something that a lot of up-and-coming wrestlers, particularly a lot of people in AEW, should be pulling him aside to talk to him about all the time, because it's the little things of learning how to sell. It's the little things of expressions. It's knowing how to work a match while favoring a certain side and making it look as though the other side is injured. And of course, Bryan Danielson's Bryan Danielson. We could have an entire show just talking about how great of a wrestler Bryan Danielson has been historically. So these two guys off.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, they
frozen for Eddie to finally get that feud or a matchup that I think can have time to breathe. Like they can go away from this and pick it up. I mean, granted, Brian's coming towards the end of his regular run, But like if that wasn't the case, this was something that they could pick up like 3-4 months down the road, and it would still feel like absolutely great.
Jimmy?
Oh, yes, I thought that was all rather well said. We mentioned Christian earlier, but his daddy daycare. You just mentioned, Stat Kings mentioned how some of the AEW talent should really talk to Eddie about some of the things he does with his face and selling. That's kind of my vibe with these first 2 matches. Like I was watching 3 professionals. And, a future professional in Garcia. I really enjoyed this match. We know Dragon, to me, Dragon's the best ever in the ring. It's not particularly close for me. No disrespect to Shawn Michaels or fucking Bret Hart or anybody. No disrespect. It's Dragon. And mostly it's because of the selling would be number 1 and the psychology is number 2. Everything the man does makes sense in the context of the match. There's nothing there just to do it.
Yeah.
And that really changes coming up next.
But the one thing that I will connect the next match to that I pointed watching live. No, what I got watching live was first match. That was 100% Christian put that match together. He was like, this is how we're gonna lay this match out. This is how it's gonna happen. Second match, Brian laid that match out. And Eddie shined in it. He made sure Eddie shined. He sold. He came from underneath. He did all the great spots. And like Stat King to say, to echo his spot, Eddie is just so good at the fake fighting spirit. Everybody does a lot of these fighting spirit spots. Eddie does the fake fighting spirit. He's like when Brian's stomping on his head when they did the same spot that they did on Dynamite, which I thought was a great spot in the matchup, where they did the stomps into the triangle choke and Eddie fought to get to the ropes. He does the stomps, and on the first stomp, Eddie says, "Fuck you." Second stomp, he goes, "Fuck." Third stomp, he's like, it's like, he's so, being that close made me appreciate that spot so much because he's like, and he's like, no, okay. Great. I love it. Loved it. We got a super chat donation here from Roxy. Thank you so much, Roxy, who says, I like Eddie, but damn, what the fuck? So we are really not going to get Brian with any title? I don't think so. I would love it. Even if it's like a TNT title run.
He got a title, Sid. You know, Jimmy already told you his title's the GOAT. What else does he need?
This has been the run that has solidified him being the GOAT for me.
You the best. You don't need jewelry to proclaim it, man.
He's still the best in the world. I don't care what anybody says.
Ask Carmelo Anthony, the greatest U.S. basketball player of all time.
We got another super chat donation from Shay Nasty. Thank you so much, Shay. He says, strong style at its finest. Yeah, this was like strong style meets King's Road. And I do agree with what you guys were saying earlier that you got power drive finisher. He says, that's what I was thinking. They could do a way better match than this. But like, I did the match 4 3/4 stars because I feel like that's their bar. That's what I've rated all their matches in AEW 4 3/4 stars. I think there is a level to get to that 5 stars.
It's one of those situations where like it's there, you just don't know exactly.
Yeah, I just don't know what it is, what they need. But all their matches has been that I've
like a main event in the right setting, like a main event at Arthur Ashe, maybe.
You know what it is?
That might be it though. New York.
Tony, you just got to pay out a little bit of money, get Final Countdown. There's your course.
I really feel like that's why I went 5 on Ricky and Brian at All Out. Because I got Final Countdown. I'm sorry, guys. But let's talk about the next.
Speaking of Final Countdown,
you have the All-Star Scramble, which you had Wardlow, Madness, Dante Martin, Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Hook. I believe that's everybody. I'm not sure. I don't care anymore. They got 8 men in here. The winner gets the #1 contender spot for the AEW World Championship. This match was a mess. They started off with all the meaty men taking everybody out, giving us a little bit of meat madness, but not so much. Then we get, different spots where it's like 2 people in, everybody else out waiting around. And literally the connection that I said, the first match was laid out by Christian. Second match was laid out by Brian. This match 100% was laid out by Chris Jericho because he legitimately, watching it live, he was on the sideline, like head over the apron, calling spots. He was calling spots like he was a head coach, telling people where to stand, telling people who needed to be in the ring at any particular time. It was crazy to watch live, but it was a mess because this was basically like, and I saw a great tweet that described it. It was a Money in the Bank ladder match without all the cool ladder spots and any ladders. In the end, Wardlow hits his new last ride Powerbomb Symphony to pick up the victory here, getting a shot at the AEW World Championship. I give this 2 stars. I'll be nice. 2 stars. Stacking.
So yeah. Well, no, because hold on, they're doing the entrances. Jericho comes out, and my immediate thought is, while the crowd's doing the song, is how come not a single one of these heels just jumps him from behind? He's arguably he's one of the biggest threats in the match. He's got his back to you because he's looking at the crowd singing the song. Just jump him from fucking behind. Like what? Why is this match has 4 fucking heels in it? Jump this motherfucker from behind, and then they throw all the the Daniel Garcia weight level people out of the match, and then they start doing, and then they start. That's
the new cruiserweight division of Daniel Garcia weighted people.
They start, and as soon as they start doing the 4 big guys start doing that, and the crowd starts doing the meat shit. I was like, you know what? That's my cue to go get food. So I left, and funnily enough, I ran into every single person that we went to the show with.
As soon as the All-Star 8-man graphic came on the screen, y'all,
left.
Bunch of people went up the stairs to concessions or merchandise.
So by the time I got back, it was damn near right at the end when Wardlow hits the Powerbomb Symphony last ride combination thing. So that's why, when I'm starting my thoughts on the match, it's like, so yeah, I saw probably 3 minutes of this, which was still 3 minutes more than I needed to see of this match.
Jimmy.
I'm glad we're all on the same page here. I've been complaining about this, but not anymore as much. But WrestleMania having everybody on it, I've always been annoyed at. It's not really a big deal if everybody's on the card. It's not a shock. And these AEW pay-per-views, why are any of these people here at all? They don't need to be here. I know, paycheck. Hey, just pay them. Fuck them. Pay them.
What's All-Star scrambly about this guy Magnus that nobody knows who he is?
Yo, All-Star was doing a lot of heavy lifting in this match description.
Right? What? I don't know why
type of reserve didn't get on the first ballot All-Star.
How many people got injured?
I hated all this. I hated the meat madness part of it because it was like you took something that happened organically with Miro and Hobbs. You're gonna try to force it here. Then you don't even do that. You add in Jericho and Dante. Already the All-Star thing's out the fucking window. Dante's here. Love you, sir. At least half of you, but
No.
The words and opinions of Jimmy Macram do not necessarily reflect those of True Heel Heat, its viewers, or affiliates.
I love all of you, sir.
That took me a second. I was like, half. Wait. I was like, well, there's dairy. Oh.
It's just, this is a mess. And you guys were lucky. And Nigel's gone. And Taz is here. Boo. Boo. No, y'all don't remember. Taz used to be fucking great. And he's not anymore.
He's having too much fun with Excalibur on
Yes.
To be
you can vibe with Nigel Lewis and fuck with these people like that. But Taz certainly does. It's awful.
Oh man, I don't know how we recover from going to the next match after that. But next up,
Real quick, Sid. Real quick.
Yeah.
To echo most of Jimmy's points. I'm not gonna echo all of them. But I remember when we used to, treat pay-per-views like they were special, man. Everybody couldn't get on the pay-per-view, man. There was limits, there was levels to people that would get on these shows, and this is no disrespect to any of the people in this match. Like I happen to like Top Flight, man, and our boy Dante had a rough night. Like there was a couple spots that wasn't quite crisp that Dante usually pulls off, and I was like, it just ain't your night, player. The other half came out a little bit on that one. But I feel like this is something, and I do agree. Like I wish that there was a way, if you still want to kind of capture that Meat Madness thing, why go through the trouble of doing a damn scramble? Just make it a match between Hobbs and Wardlow. Because that to me was who got the most spotlight out of the match anyway, was those two dudes. Like just make it a one-on-one, winner gets to go for a title shot. And cut out 5 minutes of this match, which was already taking up too much time.
You could have just done the three-way. Because you got to have Lance Archer.
Someone
needs to lose. Someone needs to lose. Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs are not going to lose. So they could have just done Lance Archer to lose.
Or this could have been on Dynamite, Sid. That probably would have been the best place for it, brother.
Yes. Had other random shit on Dynamite. Put this match on.
I didn't pay $50 for that, Tony Khan.
You bamboozled me, Tony Khan. What are you doing?
Bamboozled, led astray, run amok. I didn't land on Tony Khan. Tony Khan landed on me with his wallet.
Yeah,
I'm glad you get the reference. I'm sure Swerve doesn't. Swerve, explain yourself. I'm still waiting for an explanation. Explain yourself.
Still, to this day. To this day.
Next up, we had Orange Cassidy defending the AEW International Championship against the Undisputed Kingdom's Roderick Strong. This match here was ice cold coming in, but the reason that I think that it can be considered a success on the night is that they kept this brisk. 12 minutes. Everything else on the show before this and after this, for the most part, was over 12 minutes or 15 minutes for the most part. Most of the matches on this card were. So being 12 minutes, the first 12-minute matchup on this card really benefited it. It was fast-paced. Roddy went in there, hitting big moves, focused on the back and the ribs of Orange Cassidy throughout this matchup. I love the way he was reversing different spots that we know Orange for, like the Tilt-A-War or the Stun-Dong Millionaire into gut busters or backbreakers. The best spot was that Tilt-A-War backbreaker he did on the top turnbuckle, which was absolutely ridiculous. Then he finishes him off with the end of a heartache to pick up the victory here. This match going 12 minutes, 43 seconds. I thought this was a very good matchup for the middle portion of the card, and the crowd was actually into it. It was outside of the first three matches where I thought it was a sweet spot. It was in the fourth match spot, but I thought it delivered. And then we get a little surprise after the matchup as Kyle O'Reilly makes his first appearance in All Elite Wrestling for the first time in nearly 2 years since 2022, since suffering a horrific neck injury, breaking his neck. He had to be out with surgery for well over a year and then recover for a year as well. Came back here. He has a nice little stare down with Roger Strong and Undisputed Kingdom. He hugs it out with Roddy of the UK. Excuse me, I was about to say UE. UK give him the T-shirt, but he puts the T-shirt on Roddy's shoulder, which kind of puts a lingering factor of maybe he's not going to join up with them. Maybe he'll be fighting Roderick Strong for the AEW International Championship. Very glad to see Kyle O'Reilly back. But man, did he not get any sleep?
Yo, he looked terrible.
He did not get any sleep at all, it seemed. But good to see him back. And I thought the match was very good as well. I gave it 3.5 stars. Nate, what you do?
First off, shout out to Trey Jones in the comments. Hey, yo, that's wild, brother. That's wild. You wild for that one, dog. But I think when you look at this match, it came in cold for me for a couple reasons, Sid. Number one, Yeah, that's the one. Like, come on, brother. Come on, brother. Number one, I think it was a cold match for me because I just wasn't into the story going in. Like it hadn't hooked me yet. But then number two, we're coming off of the consensus worst match on the show. Yeah. And so the audience isn't there. But I think by the time we get to the middle part of that match, especially when Orange Cassidy's back, hit that top rope, Sid, I was like, oh, they wrestling now.
That's
like,
when the crowd got into the matchup. After
like
that
something switched up with this one. And so like I think Orange Cassidy, and we might have talked about it last time I was on True Heel Heat, said like low-key man had one of the best title runs over the past couple years. And so like every time I go into an Orange Cassidy match during this run, I'm like, yeah, he's going to find a way to come out on top. And he didn't. I think it's an interesting move. I love the addition of bringing O'Reilly back. But yeah, I think on a better pace show, and maybe if you take out that match before this, you can kind of pace the show a little bit differently. On a better pace show, I think this would have been hotter from the start. But it was a good match for what it was.
Second?
Listen, first off, I'm just glad that this terrible story and feud is over. Just absolutely grateful for that. But from the match perspective, I think it did tell a good story based off of what they had already set up, of Orange being that fighting champion, having so many injuries coming into this. Like they did that thing, I think it was during 0 Hour, where they were saying, if he refuses to have his back taped, we're not going to clear him. I think that was a nice added touch for it. And Roddy, his arsenal targets the back. So everything played out perfectly once the bell rang. It was just everything we did before the bell rang that was kind of terrible. But glad that Orange is no longer champion. He can potentially move on to bigger and better things. Hopefully, we'll see. It's a very crowded top of the card in AEW, so we'll see what happens there. And at least something is being done to sort of legitimize the Undisputed Kingdom. Because I don't know if you guys, when Cole came out on the wheelchair, there were enough people cheering that I was like, this is supposed to be the top heel faction in the company, and Christian is getting better boos than the top heel of the top heel faction. This storyline, this whole thing has been absolutely terrible, and they need to shoot Cole's ankle up, foot up, whatever, with as much steroids, cortisone, everything you can think of to get him in the ring so they can end this and move everyone on to something else.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Jimmy.
Agreed on all accounts. Adam Cole feels, not only because he's in a wheelchair, but because he's the only star in this fucking group, he feels distinctly different than the rest of them. So we cheer Cole and we ignore the rest of them because they're ignorable. I don't know what to tell you. The match was good. Crowd was silent, as they should have been after that fucking match they just saw before that. Listen, I like Orange Cassidy. I really liked his first run. Second run it's been objectively terrible. It's the worst version of the first one. We just saw it.
Yeah.
Now that Roddy has the belt, it can be the proper European ass championship that it was always going to be. And bringing Kyle O'Reilly in just kind of furthers that point. That's a weird way to bring him back. I always find we take the most exciting things and bring them, Tony Khan, bring them back in the least exciting ways. That's the least exciting way to bring back Kyle O'Reilly. He shows up looking like he stepped out of a dream, and then he just hugs him. I just got through a match. How do you not the ops? Somebody just fucked you up on site. Shirt? You can wait till I got backstage? Like, what are you doing? What is all this? This is weird.
Like you flew ostensibly, you flew to Greensboro, North Carolina just for this dog.
I don't believe he flew to Greensboro. I think he drove to Greensboro and about 3 days ago and slept in his car all of the nights. That's my belief.
And they woke him up. They was like, "Yo, it's just not time." He's like, "Oh, okay."
Because like my thing is, especially to Jimmy's point about like bringing him back. What was he gonna do if Roddy lost? Not show up?
He hugs him because he needs it now.
Terrible.
In this group is over.
Big Potato said, bro came back from a career-ending injury, and people like, bro looks like shit. What the fuck happened?
Whoa, hold on. He came back from a career-threatening injury. So that means he had plenty of time to sleep. Why did he look like that? Now, if you want to tell me he also had some life-threatening illness, then I'm like, all right, cool. That makes complete sense. I'm glad you're still with us. But otherwise, I'm just like, he needs a lot of sleep, Ambien, fucking melatonin, something to help him recover from whatever it is he's going through.
Just because you in physical therapy don't mean you can't go on Amazon and get your fit right. Like, that's the best look you could come up for this night, brother. Just saying.
He's like, I was jogging in Greensboro, and I thought, let me check out the Coliseum. Let me see what's going on.
I ran into this scalper outside. I was like, I might as well see what's up.
Big Red Dog says, Tony sometimes impresses me with how underwhelming he manages to make some angles feel.
The coolest shit ever. Hey, guess what? CM Punk's coming back. Well, how you gonna do it? I'll just say it.
You ain't seeing the vision though, Jimmy, because I got to announce this announcement of the announcement I'm going to announce. Changing the game.
Annika says the segment with O'Reilly should have had Cole there. That's a good point. Would have been nice, at least to see him being confused on why Kyle walked away like that. So, but next up on the card, you had the Blackpool Combat Club. John.
Before you continue, by the way, these 3 matches in a row, I wouldn't have had on the card at all. At all.
Wait, 3 in a row you wouldn't have had on the card at all.
On the card. This one, the International
Scramble.
Championship match, and the Scramble. Championship match that happened 5-6 weeks ago. We already saw this fucking match, and I don't need to see that fucking Scramble match for any reason.
But we did see it. Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli facing FTR, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler. Moxley and Claudio coming out in World Warrior themed attire in their entrance. FTR in their home state of North Carolina definitely had the crowd support in their favor. And Moxley and Claudio, what we wanted from their first matchup that we saw on Dynamite was them to work heel the whole time. And they did in this matchup here. But I feel like the matchup really didn't take a turn. You know, you got the heat segment with Cash taking the heat, and he's looking for first it was Dax taking the heat, looking for the tag to Cash. Makes the tag to Cash. They take out Cash. He gets busted open. And then the match really turns where you just are getting real fast-paced tag team sequences. You got 4 guys in the ring at once. You got 2 guys going at it. Big moves. You get FTR hitting their Doomsday Device finisher that they won a couple of weeks ago on Collision with, but that's broken up by Claudio. They get the Spike Power Driver, but that's broken up by Claudio as well. They even were able to hit the Shattered Machine on this occasion, but that was also broken up. And BCC tried a couple of finishers of their own. They tried the swing into the drop kick. They had the paradigm shift, but they were able to break that pin up. In the end, it was Claudio and Moxley both applying rear naked chokes to Cash and Dax, and they tried to stay on. They tried to fight out of it, but in the end, it was BCC picking up the win via referee stoppage, beating FTR in North Carolina. Great match, though. I thought this was a great match. First great match in a while in this line of matches. Your last match was good. This match was great. Thought these guys really delivered in a big way. However, I would have had FTR win here. I think FTR should have win here, and I don't think that this finish will make sense until a couple of weeks down the line. But, Jimmy, what did you think?
They beat FTR in North Carolina?
Yes.
Clearly, Vince has found his second job. What kind of horse shit is this? And for listen, the match was good. Match was good, but I seen it. I saw it already. And I saw the finish. I don't need to see this again, ever, for any reason. I don't like Moxley that fucking much. I don't need to see this match. Sorry. Is Cash still in trouble? Has he not rectified his legal situation?
The court case is still ongoing.
Yeah, it's still coming up.
Can't do anything these days. Can't do anything. You can't punch people backstage. You can't pull out a gun in traffic. Can't do shit. Goddamn liberals run the country. But this is a good match. It's a good match. I'm here for it. It is what it is. I gotta be honest with you, at this point where I thought maybe the Bucks will lose.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. But that's why I say, like, I think this finish will make more sense if the booking that I put in my head that I predicted on our preview show comes true of Sting Darby win. He's gonna do a tournament. He wanted to do the tournament 2 years ago when Bucks and FTR were one-time champions and have them be the finalists to determine who's the first ever two-time tag team champions. I think he might do that here. Who's going to be the first ever three-time tag team champions? And you can have FTR get their win back against BCC in the semifinals.
If that's what he wanted to do, then he's definitely going to do it because he refused to let these things die. These ideas.
Hey, and that's another point of why I said he's going to do that, because these are two things Tony Khan loves: tournaments and old ideas that he never got to do. So my rating for the match, I gave the match 4 1/4. I really enjoyed the second half, especially after Dax Dax started bleeding. I was like, okay, this is what this match needed. It needed some color, and now it really feels like an old school type tag team match. Nate, what did you think?
This match to me was very similar to the way I felt about Caitlin Clark's run to the all-time college basketball scoring record, in that I can appreciate the greatness, but it just don't move me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate what Caitlin did on that court, but I done seen Cheryl Swoops. I done seen Cheryl Miller. I done seen Diana Taurasi on these streets. You good, but what you doing ain't moving me. And so with this match, I've seen both of these teams have better matches and better matches with each other, to Jimmy's point. And so I thought it was a good match. Again, I like some of it, like the nods to ostensibly this is the Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express in the Greensboro Coliseum in 2024. Like, that's what we're doing here. So I appreciated that nod to history, but on a show that we knew was going to be long and was made longer by that damn All-Star Scramble, I felt like there was some
I love how we're just going to keep picking on the Scramble the rest of the show.
You know what you did, Tony Khan, Booker of the Year. You know what you did. But I feel like there was some fat that could have been trimmed. There was also a point, and I, your mileage varies with how much you enjoy kind of John Moxley style. But the point where he was licking blood off this man's head, I was like, my brother in Christ, we just 3 years outside of a global pandemic, and this what we doing on these streets for real? Just no. Like, ain't no reason for that, man.
He's only doing it because he saw Paige do it to Swerve.
Yes,
but that's it. He's like, anything you can do, I can try to one up.
Like I said, this was the Caitlin Clark match for me. Sid, like a good match. Some people might have it, like you said, close to 4 stars, but it didn't really move me.
That's fair. Stacking.
Great match. I still say that the outcome's terrible. Like, I don't understand how you're going to have FTR lose in North Carolina. I get, heel heat kind of aspect of it, but it was just primed for them to pull out the win. And the thing is, even if they, you get your win back, then you're 1-1 because you had the draw. So it's just one of those situations where that means you now have to have a 4th match if you're gonna trying to figure out the final say of who is the better of the two teams.
Then dog collar, give me my dog collar match. I wanted.
Yeah. Don't suggest anything about dog collar to Moxley.
Exactly.
He's way too excited.
He's probably been getting himself ready for Nights with Renee by watching Briscoes versus FTR.
Damn.
That one's going to baffle me for a little while. Even with the tournament idea, you could do this. There are ways to get around that, but FTR losing in North Carolina, I think, heavily affected the crowd response to the next match, because it was a lot of just wait. I still can't believe that just happened kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a big surprise for the crowd, I will say. I agree with that. We do got another super chat donation. Thank you so much. Roxy, who says, now that the tag titles are vacant, who should be the new champs? Nate, what was your prediction? Who's going to win the tournament to determine the new AEW World Tag Team Champion?
So obviously we're getting this tournament. I think the finals are going to be the match we just talked about with BCC versus FTR. FTR wins. They think they've won the titles, but wait, swerve, bro. EVP say, hey, dog, like that was cute, that little tournament thing you did, but you got to beat us if you want.
I love that. They're not in the tournament. That would be great.
Yep, and they just put themselves in.
Character, yeah.
Sounds very competent, booking wise. That's not happening.
I love the two CM Punk fans. Like, oh no, that sounds terrible.
No, that's a good idea. It's just not happening.
You're just saying TK ain't gonna do it.
Nope. It'll be a tournament, and then
I had special tag titles made for my wife and me at our wedding in October, and our entrance theme at the reception was the FTR theme. So it goddamn better be FTR as the new champions. Fuck the Young Bucks. Why do they need another title run?
I really like FTR champs, and I really like the idea Nate came up with. None of that's happening. This was gonna happen. We're gonna have a tournament. It's gonna be FTR and the Bucks are gonna win.
Thank you.
It's gonna happen.
Because they should have just done it at Full Gear last year.
No, it's over. It's 2-1. He won.
You do the damn job.
Jesus fucking Christ. Why do we have to work with these people we don't like, but you don't have to work with CM Punk? How does that math work?
Oh man, I'm going with the Young Bucks. After that performance last night, I'm going with the Young Bucks.
I'm shocked that this guy's going for the Young Bucks.
I'm not going for the Young Bucks. I accept reality as it is.
Yeah.
Steve says, agree that having FTR lose in Greensboro, being a throwback team is wild, but helps make BCC as the main team in this tournament going in. That's why I said I think that the benefit of it is that now in a lot of people's mind, BCC is a favorite to win the tag team titles tournament.
Has John Moxley on it? He's already going to be a favorite.
Yeah. And that was my main thing of why I thought this match was unpredictable to predict, even though it's FTR in North Carolina, because I'm like, yo, they rarely ever let Moxley lose.
That's what Claudio was there for.
But like they have done an exceptional job as far as protecting Claudio jobs even.
Yes, that's why you use one on FTR in North Carolina. What the fuck?
Can we just accept that some people he don't fuck with like that? FTR is one of them. Thunder Rosa's another one.
I like what?
Not you, Tony Khan. Just some people he don't fuck with. FTR, Thunder Rosa. I don't like y'all like that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign you. I'm gonna pay you. I'm just not gonna like you.
All right. I forgot that since we're on the AE Ramble side, I can put some drops for these super chats. So here's the drops for the last three. Here you go.
You don't know shit.
I miss you, sir. Jay White's another one. Absolutely.
We miss you. Yeah. Oh yeah. Jay White. Yeah. He don't fuck with Jay White.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. That's Swerve on a blind date when she was obviously not the color he preferred.
No, when Jay White saw he was on the 0 hour, he just looked at his phone and he was like,
Tony Khan, this is also on you, because you can stop this.
He said, call Triple H. I don't want to you don't talk to them so goddamn bad. Go talk to him.
Next up, we had Deonna Purrazzo challenging timeless Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. I love the entrance for Toni as she had Mariah May do the full original theme song, full entrance for Toni Storm. Everybody in that arena thought it was Toni. At the beginning. Everybody was like, "Oh shit, she took it back!" And then it was
I was like, so this is timeless Toni Storm acting as original.
Yes.
It was. I thought it was that, but then she came out full entrance after we realized it was Mariah May. They go in. They have a great, technically proficient matchup. It was solid work inside the ring, but like we were saying before, the finish to the last match definitely affected the heat of this matchup, and the crowd really wasn't into it until the latter stages of the bout. And Toni Storm was really trying her best. Like, she was playing to the crowd, playing up, posing, doing her taunts. Her and Deonna had some good chemistry, especially on the mat. Their mat work was really good and fluid, going back and forth. In the end, though, it was a distraction by Mariah May getting up on the apron to distract Deonna Purrazzo. She kicked her down, but she walked right into Storm Zero for Toni Storm to pick up the victory here. Like I said, solid in-ring work. I give it 3 stars. Toni Storm retaining the AEW Women's World Championship. Stat King, what did you think?
Yeah, so I was definitely one of those people who was still going, what the fuck? Why did this FTR lose in North Carolina? So that definitely affected my memory of this match. But from what I do remember of it, you know, it was solid in the ring. There's really nothing there to there was no like crazy botches, no getting dropped in the head, you know, nothing like that took place in this one. But it did kind of feel off. And, you know, maybe to a certain extent, to Jimmy's point earlier, a lot of that is due to how Deonna has been presented so she's supposedly the face, but she is still doing that virtuosa heel aspect of the character. So I'm hoping that they can pivot from this into her kind of being humbled and saying, can I be the virtuosa if I'm not able to beat the champion? And, you know, going on a little bit of a soul search there. They probably won't, but I mean, you know, one can hope. One can hope.
One can hope. That's all we can do, folks. That's all we can do here. Nate, what did you think?
So this was one of the 3 matches that I was looking forward to coming into this show. You know, obviously Sting, his final match, the 3-way for the title, and then this. Like, these were the 3 that I was like, okay, even if the rest of the show is not great, even if the rest of the show is the All-Star Scramble, those 3 are going to hit. Like, those 3 are going to deliver. And this did not deliver. And it's sad because obviously we know how great Toni Storm is, and this character has kind of reinvigorated her. Deonna Purrazzo is great. Like, if you've been watching Impact over the years, man, you know what this girl can bring to the table. But for whatever reason, even in the story leading up to this, never once was there a point where I'm watching this and going, you know what? I feel like booing Toni Storm. Like, nah, she way too damn entertaining. Like, you have to be at a certain level of entertainment in order for me. Like, it's kind of like, and almost like a parallel to what's going on with Cody, Devontae Rhodes, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I think Cody is smart enough to be like, I can't go joke for joke, ball for ball with Rock. But what I can do is I'm going to give you one of those sincere, heartfelt Cody Rhodes tear in my eye promos, and that'll be the way I can get back at him. Whereas with this, it felt like Deonna didn't know what to do, where it's like, I can't go joke for joke with Toni, but she also never struck me as somebody that I should feel sympathetic for, Sid. And so because of that, there was nothing connecting me to the match. Technically, it was a good match, but there was no buzz, there was no heat, and that's a shame, especially when this is the only women's match on the whole damn show, like the show proper. It should have had more buzz and it should have had more heat to it.
Yeah, it's a placement issue, because I said on the preview, if this match is in the first half of the show, I think it has a better chance to succeed. I think that the in-ring work was fine, and I think that it was at the bar that they kind of set for them. I think they had a chance to exceed expectations. I think this met expectations, but the crowd heat wasn't there because it followed that finish of the last matchup. Jimmy?
Agreed. But also the story here doesn't lend itself to a compelling match. Toni Storm is crazy. I mean, it's not really a story. She forgot their friendship. It's not like Deonna's been very lovable since she got here, so why should I care that Toni Storm doesn't be a friend anymore? I wouldn't either. She's awful. Match is fine. I enjoy Toni Storm. Deonna's fine. But I'm glad we're done. I'm glad we're done with all this. Like, it hasn't been bad, but we've reached the point of where we should be over it, and I'm over it. Good. Match, pin, let's all move on with life. Count down the banks. Oh, is that next week? I mean, Wednesday rather?
No, Wednesday the 13th. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Hey,
Like-
we apparently might be having a big debut on Wednesday, so you got something to look for.
Big debut. He did 607,000 last time he was here. Right.
This guy with his Patreon to WrestleNomics, so he can just say stuff like that.
Absolutely. I don't forget.
This one to you, sir.
Indeed. Big Tag Matthew Dragon did 600,000. Absolutely. Sure. Big stuff.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, they did it.
Next up was the other big match I was looking forward to the most on this card. Konosuke Takeshita going one-on-one with his fellow Don Callis stablemate, Don Callis family stablemate, Don Callis family sibling, Will Ospreay. When I tell you, this crowd adored Will Ospreay. Oh my God. Like there's times where like the new top guy has arrived, but like between Wednesday and how he came off, and Jimmy, like I said on Thursday on AE Ramble, said it the best. Main character vibes in that segment that he had with the Don Callis family, and then here just the vibe just completely shifted. How we said like the crowd wasn't into much of the matchup. They got into like the last couple of minutes of Tony and Deanna, but boy, oh boy, did they get the fuck back up for this matchup. And the crowd energy was just different in this match. But sheesh, I have some notes that I have here from a site that I'm going to try to keep up with everything that went down in this matchup. So first you get like a lightning quick Huracan Rod as a start. You get Takeshita line. You get both guys doing spots to the outside. You get Ospreay with a plancha. Takeshita does a tope con hilo. We get Pepachiro forearm from Ospreay. Then he hits a corkscrew leg kick. Then you get Takeshita. He comes back. He rolls into the ring. Ospreay meets him with a slingshot dive. Then back inside, Kawada kicks from Ospreay, but Takeshita fights back, hits a somersault. Then you get Takeshita wants to go for a top rope senton, but Ospreay gets his knees up. He tries for a leap of faith, but Takeshita is able to roll out. We get suplex exchanged between both men. The craziest spots, though, of this matchup is when Ospreay goes for the Os Cutter, and freaking Takeshita catches him in midair, reverses it into a blue thunder bomb. I thought the roof was going to blow off. I thought I was going to jump out of my damn seat. The other big spot of this matchup is when they're fighting in the corner. It looks like Ospreay's kind of trying to fight to the top. He looks like he's going for a superplex, but then Takeshita gets control. It looks like he's going for the El Generico Sami Zayn brainbuster on the top turnbuckle. Completely misses the turnbuckle, and freaking Ospreay's body folds into the corner. And Ospreay has this wicked rash because his whole back rolls down the top rope, bottom rope. Oh my God. You get the great strike exchanges, just fast-paced action throughout. Ospreay catches Takeshita in midair with the hidden blade. That only gets him a near fall. He goes for a Stormbreaker, but Takeshita keeps breaking out of it. Takeshita hit possibly the greatest German suplex I've ever seen in my life. Like, it looked so fucking beautiful. No, not the wheelbarrow. I'm talking about the bridge. The bridge with the bridge was beautiful. And then he does the crunchy into the deadlift German suplex, which looked ridiculous. They do the fighting spirit out of the Germans and half suplexes. You get Takeshita. He's still fighting even at the end, but Ospreay finishes him off with a second hidden blade to the back of the head. 1, 2, 3. Will Ospreay wins his first official matchup as an AEW roster member in an absolutely sensational, phenomenal matchup. I turned around to the people with me after the match, and I just said it. I was like, 5 stars. I was going to say it here. I said it right at the building after the bell rang. That was a 5-star matchup. And then we get the announcement after the matchup. We see Kyle Fletcher, a Don Callis family member, as well as a former member of United Empire, come down to the ring. They announce on commentary that Kyle Fletcher will go one-on-one with Will Ospreay because apparently Don Callis is like, No one else from the AEW roster can give my guys competition. They got to fight within themselves. So Fletcher's back. He goes one-on-one with his mentor, Will Ospreay, helps him out from the ring. By God, Will Ospreay, we're watching somebody that is unreal. Like they're special performers, and Will Ospreay is definitely on that short list. Jimmy?
I'm sorry I don't have any more like recent references for you all. Sorry, I didn't watch wrestling for a decade or so. But if we've established the fact that MJF is the star of the company, right? You've all assumed he's re-signed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's our Steve Austin. This is my Rock and Triple H. These are my next two guys. These are my two guys who are the other central focus of my company. This was fucking fantastic, as I knew it would be. When all you bums were talking about Juice, they signed Juice. Who else? Bandito and all these other people. I said, I give it all these bombs for Takeshita. That's what I told you. And he's proving me right every single time he steps out there. I love that fucking match. I can't think of much like it. Will Ospreay's a star. He's even though babyface stuff he's got going on now is a little hokey. It feels real to me. He feels like he's really excited to be there.
He's like what Cody wanted to be. You know? He's accepted for being himself, the everyday man that
every day, really fucking happy, excited. He's great. And yes, a special shout out to that bridge German. It was just so very clean on his tippy toes with the bridge. Oh my god, that shit was so great. I love that fucking match. I don't know about 5 stars, but I really enjoyed that fucking match.
You go 4 3/4 is your 5 stars.
No, your 5 stars is fucking everything. So I'm just not there yet. Give me a minute.
You change your whole ratings because of Gunther and Ilya Dragunov.
Listen, sir. If I told you, if you met a girl, right? No disrespect to you women watching at home, right? If you met a girl and you said this is the best looking woman I've ever seen, right? And you went your whole life thinking that this is the best looking woman ever. Then you found somebody else who was just good looking. Wouldn't it change your whole fucking outlook on life? Wouldn't it? That's what happened to me. Oh my god. Something else can't be this good.
Nate.
Yo. All right. So as I said when I showed up on the show today, said like I'm familiar with the good brother Jimmy's game. I've seen this man multiple times here on True Heel Heat. I'm familiar, with your game, Sid. But I am ashamed to admit I was unfamiliar with the level of game that this man William Jefferson Ospreay brings to the table. Like we do a show, The Spinning Black Fist, over at the Kings of Sport Network, hosted by Chinyere Okafor. And she always tells me, Nate, Will Ospreay is him. He is him. Like, I see some Ospreay matches here and there, but I ain't really been checking for this dude. I'm a busy man, Sid. I only got but so many hours in the day, man. And I gave 5 minutes of those hours to the damn All-Star Scramble match last night. So I'm not a good judge of time management. But this match, dog, like, this is that dude. Like, I see what you're saying. Like, he does have Cody. Like, this is who Cody wanted to evolve into, but they would never let him do it because they were still holding it against him that he ended racism, and they was mad about that. It was like, you know what? We like racism, and we're not going to let you continue with this push, Cody. But just seeing this dude out there just having fun, and Takeshita, like, come on, man. Like, everybody in a family is not created equal, but if the Don Callis family were the Jacksons, we know Don Callis got a bunch of Randys and Titos and Latoyas running around. We saw Michael versus Janet last night. Because this dude, Takeshita, like, in defeat, Sid, I think he gained more from that match than he has this entire run.
I saw somebody said he gained more from that match than beating Kenny Omega, and I was like, I can't argue too much in favor of that.
Like the stage, like it being on the show that is probably going to be one of AEW's most watched shows, given what the main event was, being that this was Ospreay's big debut, like all eyes were on Takeshita. So if he didn't hold up his end of the bargain, we wouldn't be talking about this match as glowingly as we are. But yeah, I gained a newfound respect for Takeshita. And then, like I said, man, I knew Ospreay was bad, but I didn't know he was like bad. I didn't know he was like that. And so, yeah, like you talked earlier about Switchblade, man, and some of these other cats, Roddy and Cole, dog. Everybody got to step their game up, go back in the lab, because those top level spots, and this includes the 3 men that we're going to talk about in the main event. Everybody got to step their game up because this dude Ospreay is coming for that top spot.
Stacking?
Yeah, so this was absolutely incredible to be able to watch. Ospreay and Takeshita, they meshed so well together. Like, it's, I'm not the biggest fan of the like just no selling from when you get hit with big moves and then you just quickly just shift to the one thing, or like you take a fucking wicked hit, you just stumble backwards and all of a sudden you're just right back into it. However, when it's done by really good people who are good at doing it, I'm willing to overlook it, and that's what we got here. I'm not the biggest Takeshita fan. I think part of it is for me is that like he's just presented to me as an absolutely phenomenal wrestler, and you just don't get a lot of of who he is or who he is supposed to be outside of that. And to a certain extent, they're doing that on purpose, making him kind of a not nameless, faceless guy, but moldable, malleable by Callis, so that down the road, if he breaks free of Callis, it makes sense as to why. Like Callis is just too controlling. So I can overlook that fact and be like, I'm going to grade him on his ability in ring. And in ring, he's phenomenal. He's one of the best people that AEW has. Ospreay, just coming in, is already one of the best people that AEW has. But this was absolutely fantastic. And if this is, the part of the problem, unfortunately, is that, with this being Ospreay's first official match in AEW, this is now the bar. This is now the bar for what he has to do. And for somebody whose body is going to start slowing down on him, I trust him to be able to know when to do the big things that need to be done. But I'm hoping that he has a really good game plan going forward, because, sir, you knocked this one out of the park so far that I don't know. It's going to be tough to see how you can top it, because we had the Forbidden Door match last year. If we want to discount the Wrestle Kingdom match with Omega because it wasn't under an AEW banner, and we solely look at the Forbidden Door one, you knock that completely out of the park. Then this year, you've already knocked this out of the park. Where do we go from here? That's something I'm going to be very interested to see. It almost was me just going, not like a damn now what, but like I'm super excited to see what's going to be next.
Absolutely, Ospreay, man. Yeah, that's the caveat. Is he set the bar too high here? But Takeshita showed the hell out, man.
Yeah.
Takeshita, that's one of his best matches he's had in his entire career. Big Man Dog, they need to book Takeshita and Ospreay as 2 steps above 98% of the roster.
I would say 99.
Yes, this Kyle Fletcher match shouldn't go more than 10 minutes. It definitely will, but it shouldn't.
It will definitely go like 50. It'll go like 50 on TV. Yeah. And
then 15 minutes with the ROH whatever champion. You fucking serious? Austin goes 5 minutes, 10 minutes with Val Venus. Are you fucking serious?
Roxy says, "Okay, Jimmy, the way you talk about Ospreay sounds like when you talked about Jay White. So who's better?" LOL.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Uh-oh.
Well, I would have given it to Jay White because he is a fantastic character, but clearly his character is an idiot who's very forgetful these days. So I'm going to go with Ospreay. Sorry, Jay.
That's fair. It's an ever the list is fluid. The list is fluid. We got here in the chat some breaking news from Romeo, who says Fightful Select says Mike Santana no longer a part of the AEW roster after being removed from their website page. So makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, kind of saw this coming. I thought they might have made up whenever him and Homeboy had that feud on Rampage, but apparently not. I hope this was their call, not his. Because you will come crawling back, sir. Look at QT Marshall. Cody, go hook him up, but no, I'm sorry.
He was like, nah.
Cody, like I used my one favor up for Jay, dog. I can't do this one, player.
He was like, they're dealing with some budget issues. They have a lawsuit and stuff.
Hey, Rock wouldn't sign off on it, brother.
So it's all the Wayne's fault.
That should be Triple H's new go-to line. I tried to get him, but Rock not interested.
That damn Rock. And then finally, the AEW World Championship bout, three-way matchup. Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page and challenging the champion Samoa Joe. This match struggled because they followed that last match. It's like the Earth 2 of like following a bad match. I think we have to figure out what's worse. Following a bad match or following a fantastic match of the year candidate. I don't know what might be worse for a wrestler. I'm gonna ask a wrestler that one day. But yes, these guys had a tough battle getting the crowd really into this one. But I thought they did a great job telling a great story simply of Joe being this panicked champion who's very much worried about Hangman and Swerve and their hatred for one another and the possibility of either man beating the other without him being involved in the win. So he was going desperately for wins at various times. Hangman was desperate to get wins, looking for buckshot lariats at various points. I thought they were going to go for a great sequence where Joe was going for a muscle buster and Hangman was going for a buckshot at the same time, but it didn't come to fruition. In the end, it was Swerve Strickland who hit the JML driver. Then Joe comes in and takes him out of play, hits him with a big move. As he's down, he locks on the rear naked choke on Hangman Adam Page. Hangman tries to fight out of it and try to survive. How Swerve is trying desperately to crawl over and make the save, but Hangman chooses to tap out instead of allowing Swerve to make the save. And that is how commentary kind of played it off with the finish to this matchup. I thought it was a great match following what was the match of the night and the match of the year candidate, in my opinion. I gave this match here 4.25 stars. So I gave a couple of matches that rate. There's a lot of great matches on this card around that range. I'm in the Dave Meltzer 4.25 for everything range with a lot of this show. Nate, what did you think about the three-way matchup here? Like I said, great match.
I thought it was a hell of a match because not only did it have to follow Takeshita and Ospreay, but it had to precede Sting's last match. So it's damn, dog, you got me between the rock and the hard place for real, for real. And this match, I don't think it ever hit the highs of the previous match from a bell-to-bell standpoint or the highs of the following matchup from an emotional standpoint. But what it did well was tell a story. You know, like you said, like Joe is like, dog, I don't mess with neither one of these cats. They coming for the crown. I just got to watch my back. And then the hatred between Swerve and Hangman, like blinding them. Like there were opportunities for each one of them to win. But they threw those opportunities away at various points in the match because I don't want this dude to win. It ain't enough that I win. It's just he can't win. And so, like, I love the bit at the end, like you said, where you could tell, like Hangman, like you could have got out of that, Adam Page. You could have did something, dog. We'd have seen you get out of worse predicaments. But he's like, you know what? I would rather have the L on my record than this brother Swerve have the win on his record and become the first Black AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And that's amazing storytelling because, yes, they did this double turn. They've been working on this double turn for a while. But it's almost like a Drew McIntyre thing with Hangman Page, Sid, where even though you're the bad guy, even though you're the asshole, I kind of get it. Like, you know, say like Stat, you seem like a cool dude, man. Like, you know, I ain't got no personal beef with you, Stat. But if I had a fictional hypothetical son and you broke into my house and threw some damn merchandise on my fictional son, it's on site until I say it's not on site anymore. And so you get why Hangman is so pressed with this dude. While I'm rooting for Swerve, it's like, yeah, you did kind of break up in this dude's spot and throw some AEW merchandise on his baby face with Nana right beside you. Like, that ain't cool, dog. And so I think, like, this was a well-placed and well-thought-out match where each guy had a chance to shine at various points. Like, there were points where I thought Swerve was going to win, Sid. There were a couple points, particularly after those multiple buckshot lariats that I thought, okay, is Paige going to win? And then, of course, like obviously Joe's the champ, so he's got a shot at retaining. But there is so much story you can tell coming out of this. And I think ultimately, like we're going to get a big match where Hangman and Swerve are going one-on-one where one of them is the champion. And that is going to be like the culmination officially for this feud. But I thought they did a lot of good things in this match. They had a lot of kind of story beats to juggle, and I thought it came out well. Maybe like this, to me, the level for three ways is always that Unbreakable in TNA.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, Joe, and Daniels. This didn't meet that level, but it was still a damn good match.
Absolutely agree. Jimmy?
Agreeing on most counts. I didn't think the finish came together quite as well as they wanted it to come together. It didn't hit for me. I thought Hangman knocking out referees probably did more.
That was great.
He's just fucking them up.
He's unhinged. Then to follow up what we were talking about on Ramble about his promo, about the explanation and stuff. There is a part of me after this matchup that's okay with the explanation that he gave on Collision of, I don't give a fuck. I'm a dumbass. Like he's unhinged. He's lost it. He's like completely lost it. After this matchup, I was like, okay, I get that's where they're going now.
He's officially an empty-headed dumb fuck?
Yes, he's an empty-headed dumb fuck.
Fair enough. By the way, did you see Swerve had a black dancer with him this time? Just on the far left. Finally, he learned his lesson. Yeah, I was paying attention. You goddamn right I was.
That was probably all Nana. Nana was like, look, fam, we it ain't a good look on these streets right now.
That's some heat right now. This was good. All this was good. It's about what I expected. I never expected Joe to lose though, so it didn't quite get me as it should have. But it all worked.
Stacking.
I appreciate Hangman just basically becoming a full-time professional hater. Like that's it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and to the point that him trying to beat Swerve and piss Swerve off and anger him got to the point that Swerve had both of them beat, but he had Joe beat first, and he could have pinned Joe, but he said, no, I'm going to wait until Hangman gets up so I can knock him out and try to pin him. And I think that was very well done. It's tough to try to tell that story, and Joe was able to act as that glue piece to really help keep things moving during the course of the match. I thoroughly enjoyed that one, that match. It was one of my favorites of the night. I'm happy that Joe retained, and the idea Jimmy saying that Hangman is actually is he now just an empty-headed dumb fuck. I appreciate both Hangman and the Bucks leaning into the actually, finally acknowledging that they are what someone said they were. I appreciate that.
Hey, if that's the perception he created, embrace it.
But
I
also,
agree. Embrace
again,
it.
Go ahead, Jim.
I was gonna say yes. Embrace it. Not that you can't make any actual money off it. You fucking idiots.
Yes. Well, and that's what I was gonna say, dog. Like again, from a character standpoint, you can understand Hangman. He's like, yo, you fired this Muffin Man for threatening your life, Tony. But this dude threw a shirt on my baby. And y'all ain't reprimanded him at all. Not once. Not a fine. Not a suspension. You ain't write the brother up. Give him some counseling. I got to take this into my own hands.
What would be really, really interesting is Tony's like they say that they're going to be fines for him putting hands on the referees, and then his EVP friends say, no, I don't think we're going to have any fines for him.
Oh, I like that.
Now you cooking. An idea that Tony Khan will definitely not use.
Hey, he watches. We know he watches. We know he watches. That's why we have this. We know he watches. We know he watches. But sound off in the live chat. We want to thank you all for supporting us during this stream with your super chat donations. Final calls for that, as well as let us know your match of the night, MVP, LVP, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? Let's put our thumbs in the middle, guys. For AEW Revolution 2024, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board. Jimmy, out of 10, what did you give the show?
8. Really good card. If you had Nigel for the whole show, maybe they go 8.5. Instead, we had fucking Taz and then Don Callis and then JR. All various levels of good and then awful for Taz. Sorry.
Damn.
Yeah, I go 8.
I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 show. I thought 5 of the matches were great, including the Sting and Darby versus Young Bucks, which was a phenomenal moment, an emotional moment for me as a wrestling fan. It's been a long time Sting fan. Sting's the first ever non-WWF wrestler I ever watched. So it was very important for me to be there, and I was very glad to be a part of that night and part of the moment. Overall, I thought this was one of AEW's best pay-per-views in a while. Staggy?
I think I'd go 8.5. I think I'd split the difference between your two ratings because some of the low points were rather annoying, and there was some head scratching for some of the booking decisions, like that the FTR loss. But overall, for what the night really ultimately was about, they knocked that part out of the park. So I can't be that upset about some of the misses.
Nate?
Yeah, and this might be a theme as we're going through some of our rankings here, Sid. Intellectually, I think I'd give this an 8 out of 10. I think a really solid show. I would take out, of course, that all-star scramble, and I would, maybe tinker with the FTR BCC match and tighten up the Tony Storm Deanna match as well. Like those 3 were the big sticking points of the show for me. But emotionally, man, it's a 9 all day. You know what I mean? Just the way this ended, like that last three runs of matches at the end, where you go from Ospreay to Takeshita to the title match to Sting's final match. Like, if that was all I got and the rest of this 4-hour show was that scramble, it'd still be a good show for me, Sid, because the last 3 delivered so much.
Agree with you there. So, what was your match of the night, Stacking?
Ospreay Takeshita.
Jimmy?
Yeah, that one.
Nate?
Again, my head says Ospreay and Takeshita, Sid. But come on, dog. My heart is with that man called Sting and Sting Jr. and El Hijo del Sting and a little crazy redheaded stepchild Darby that needs some emotional counseling because he got emotional anger issues like Mike Lowry on these streets. But yeah, that Sting match was amazing.
Ospreay Takeshita for me. That was blew me away as far as like unbelievable in-ring action, state-of-the-art sequences. That was unbelievable to watch live. MVP for the show, though, it's Sting.
Yeah.
It's Sting! Stacking?
Sting as well for MVP.
Nate?
I mean, of course, there's an honorable mention for our guy, Chris Jericho. Come on, man. ain't nobody else, brother. This was his show. It was showtime for one last time. Yeah, main event MVP to that man Sting.
Jimmy?
Sorry, I don't give legacy points. Michael Jordan is better than Magic Johnson. They saved the NBA. I don't give a fuck. Michael's just better. Ospreay. Sorry.
That is also fair. LVP, Jimmy.
Boy, does Jay White count?
Yep.
Jay White, poor bastard.
Nate?
LVP, I'm going to say it, man. Even though he was in the main event, I didn't need him this whole run, man. Like maybe a cameo, but he's been way too much involved with this thing final run, and that's the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Like I used to love I'm gonna say it, Sid. I'm gonna say it. Used to love Nature Boy for the longest time. My top wrestler of all time, like one of the greats of all time. You can't dispute what that brother did as a performer, as a human being. There's a lot you can dispute, but I felt like the whole story should have been, as somebody who has watched this man Sting and this man Ric Flair over the years, the whole thing should have been the reverse swerve, where we think the whole time Flair is with Sting and Darby, and he's like, nah, dog, one last time in my backyard in Greensboro, in my house, and you getting all this fanfare, and I had to sell my last match on pay-per-view that was overpriced and not a lot of people watched it. You ain't getting to go out like this, dog, because I'm teaming up with these young bucks and we taking you out. Like, I wanted to see the dastardly, because that's the whole thing, the whole story between these two men. Sting been trusting this man, Ric Flair, all his life. But much like the government, much like FEMA, you can't trust Ric Flair. He gonna find a way to stab you in the back when you need him the most. So I didn't buy that. He's like, don't hurt Sting. Don't hurt this guy I respect so much. Please don't do it. And you're right. You're damn right. You should have got super kicked in the head, Ric Flair. You shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Ric Flair is the LVP of this match. I said it, Sid.
I'm gonna go with LVP for the worst match of the night. The 8-man scramble. Chris Jericho, you put it together, so you get the honors of having the LVP trophy taken home.
What the Bucks?
Huh?
What the Bucks?
What do you mean the Bucks?
They lost to a 65-year-old man and a fucking idiot, clearly. They're not very good at your job.
That King.
I mean, he's kind of convincing me right now. No, my LVP is going to be Jay White.
Jay White.
You poor bastard. Come on.
Jay White for Stat King. That is all the awards. Keep sounding off in the live chat. Final call for last call for super chat donations. Nate, thank you so much for joining us. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media. What you got going on all the different platforms you're on right now, sir.
Well, you know one thing, brother said. The only thing for sure about Nate, ain't a damn thing for sure, brother. But I appreciate you having me on last minute, man. It was the planets aligned, man. My boss didn't make me work the whole day, and I was like, let me holler at this dude, Sid, see if he got an extra chair available. So not only was it great catching up with you, man, but talking with Stat and Jimmy for the first time. That was cool as well, fellas. Great conversation about a really damn good show that if you missed, and Bleacher Report ain't paying my bills. That's why I was at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. But if you owe it to yourself, if you're interested about this and you saw people talking about it on social last night, you listened to us talk about the show today, man, buy the replay because it is worth, even with the damn All-Star Scramble, it is worth your money to watch this show. Speaking of shows, got a lot of shows, man. The Kings of Sport is my main home. Sid's been on the Kings of Sport multiple times. We have a Patreon. Patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door. If you want to pay more, we will not stop you. It is a free country. We have so many shows up on the network that are debuting here in the near future, including this Friday. We have a show called The Avengers Initiative, which is a MCU show led by two talented and funny women, Jennifer Smith and Brittany Monet. So we hope everybody checks that out and supports those sisters as they do what they do best. For more post-wrestling, the NWA podcast, Sid showed up on his last appearance at the Nubian Wrestling podcast, an appearance me and the fellas are still talking about. Sid came through with the heat on our December episode, so we're sure we'll have Sid come back on the show the closer Devontae gets to finishing his story, which he will, despite Sid's misgivings about that brother. But for everything else, man, just follow me on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK at Nate Mosaic. This was a fun conversation, fellas, and of course, man, I'm just glad that so many more people in this day and age are getting to experience this man called Sting, man. Because he, like I said, he my GOAT, man. You can have whoever you want as your GOAT, but to me, that dude Sting in and out of the ring is an example for all of us.
Yes, you need to thank Dwayne for Devontae finishing his story. Jimmy,
fucking egregious.
Let the people know where they can follow you.
I don't want you to follow me. Your opinions are horrible. I have no interest in what you have to say. Typically, that's it. Actually,
yo, that was still better than the damn All-Star Scramble.
True Heel SP3 for me, Stat King.
You guys can follow me here on the True Heel Heat channel, where I cover Ring of Honor on Review of Honor, talking about everything that's interesting that happens on Ring of Honor, which isn't much, but what there is, we do cover it. And you can catch me on the True Heel Heat Sports Entertainment channel, where I do a lot of the sports sides of things, and we'll see what happens with the entertainment side.
You got plenty of great stuff to enjoy from the channel. That was all weekend. The watch along, the preview, True Heel Heat flagship podcast. Check it all out. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be back with more with our Raw review tomorrow. So check.
Did y'all review SmackDown?
Huh?
Did y'all review SmackDown?
on the True Hill Heat flagship. Yeah.
What'd you have to say about the Rock fucking taking up time from the good sister? As always, him and Swerve on the payroll.
We have to save something for Thursday for me and you to talk about. We'll talk about that. For me and Jimmy, we will see you on Thursday. AE Ramble. Thank you, Nate, for joining us. Thank you, Stat King. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our AEW Revolution 2024 review. Excuse me. We are signing off until